pause it. Bit hard to do. Everything's backwards with this camera. It's horrible. Right, so I'll just do it again. Just pause it. Now I'm going to read it from MIDI with the old spectacles. Alright, on the one you made the video about, we got our wires crossed. I'm like you, come from similar background. I'd say I'm part Irish too. I'd like to know more. I only know what I witnessed, but she's caused a lot of people. She's caused me, but she's caused me some shit. Told a lot of lies. Fucked me over. Word. Cunt has to be stopped. Taking people's birth certificates and registering insurance policies against them. Who's the beneficiary? Question mark. Also, powers of attorney. What's up with that? I think she's fucked now. I've alerted all her friends and Brandon, the young guy down the street, down the road. His dad's a railway inspector. He's investigating her. Her time's up. She's evil. Cunt is dangerous, real dangerous, and scorned. Check out the pics. You'll see what I'm saying. And then it's my response. G'day, Mitty. Thanks for the heads up, but the cops know about my channel. They have made enough threats to sink the Titanic. By the letters, FCA, do you mean Family Law Court? How come? How did you come by my details and all this activity from Deb to you is recent? If you don't mind me asking, how did you come by all this info about Debra? I knew more about Deb than I was letting on. I always know more than I'm letting on. It comes with the territory. I just don't pick fights. Just watch out until someone has a go. And then, so that was me to Mitty. And then his reply was, want to watch out. She's told the family court you've shared documents. Well, she's sharing family law documents with Mitty. Now this is from this is the second one. Oh God, this computer's backwards. This is Debra. On the 19th of September. Here's Joe's email and attached final orders from Family Law Court. I haven't read these orders yet. I don't want to know. Why is she giving my details to a stranger who's threatening me stalking me on YouTube? I listed, he threatened me, said come up the coast and I'll sort you out. So I said, okay, send me the details. I did a Google Maps, made a clip about him, showed his phone, showed the recording, and then he asked me to take it down a week later. And then people must have been fucking hounding him. And eventually they took my channel down because I was naming the people who were gang stalking, gaslighting me and targeting me. So the section below that is from Duncan Holmes. Now it's Dear Joe, attached amended final orders, yours faithfully. Right. So faith comes fiducia, which means contract, and that's basically it. So this is Mitty saying that I'd like to know, cunt has to be stopped. She's caused me some shit, told lies, fucked me over, word. Cunt has to be stopped. taking people's birth certificates and registering insurance policy against them with no who's the beneficiary. Also, powers of attorney. What's up with that? That's what she did with the son. He's dead. I think she fucked up now. I already alerted. I think she's fucked now. I've already alerted her friends, Brandon, the young guy down the road. His dad's a railway inspector. He's investigating her. Her time's up. She's evil, cunts, dangerous, real dangerous, and scorned. Check out the pics. You'll see what I'm saying. I haven't showed the pics. And then I'm just reiterating. G'day, Mitty. Thanks for the heads up. But I've got more to come. But the cops know about my channel. They've made enough threats to sink the Titanic. So I was getting threats and worded from lawyers and police and prosecutors, mainly Freemasons, I'd say, within the police. But they were basically saying, someone's going to be facing 15 years and you're going to be their get out of jail free card. So yeah. So g'day Mitty, thanks for the heads up. But yeah, so I mentioned that. Family law court letters. So I got this bit all as one, and I'm talking about this. I'm thinking it's in this part here, but it's actually in the attachment below. By family FCA, do you mean family law court? How did you come by my details and all the activity from Deb's to you as recent? If you don't mind me asking, how did you come by all this info? I knew anyway. So basically, that's. I'll just hold it up again. Maybe you can get a better. Oh, that's really good. That. All right. Get rid of these bloody things. Now, we still talking? We still got sound? Still got sound? Yeah, still got sound. Hey man, check out how many subscribers you have. YouTube unsubscribed me from your channel. Now, I think they've got access to my channel by mirroring it, and I'm actually, when I put clips up, it's going to the mirror, and they're intercepting the data and hacking, and they can't be too obvious. So that's one. I keep getting these replies. First channel I've ever been unsubscribed from. So when people put my clips up on Facebook about confronting the cops, I get 2 million hits. 2,500 shares, and 2,500 shares, and then yeah, basically gets shared another 1,000 to 1,500 times on average. There we go. Oop. Damn it. There we go. Just pause it. I'll read it out anyway. 100% spot on. He slandered me in the most horrible way, distressing things said about the death of my son. The death of her son? She didn't look upset. She just looked mean. That I murdered my own son? I don't know. I've never said that. With 3 male friends. No, she told me she was murdered by her flatmate and 2 of his mates. That's what she said, and she knows them and who they're associated with, what club they're associated with. And she wanted me to supply her with a gun, same as the other notary. And that I also murdered other people and had bodies buried in my backyard. I've never said that ever. If anyone has a recording me saying that, as proof I've said that, post it. Now, what I didn't say to Mitty was, I've seen, because I Google Earth his property and I went for the real estate, and they showed pictures from inside his house looking over the property. I said, "What's the bonfire for, Mitty? Is that where they get rid of the bodies?" He didn't deny it, and then he says, "You're a clever cunt." The fact that he's screaming in the courtroom, threatened the police prosecutor. Well, see, the police prosecutor assaulted me and attacked me in the foyer. Didn't identify himself. You see me push him away. Didn't know who the fuck he was. And detective, sorry. And he was Asian too. You don't get a lot of Asian detectives, even Asian coppers. They tend to go for large. Oh, they're taking women these days, so I suppose. It's not taking a piss. I'm just saying, like, Asians aren't very tall. Usually they're big burly blokes. And uh, and then he came out and he kept harassing me. Like, the other copper fucked off, and he stepped there and he kept talking. And I had my fingers in my pocket. It looks like I got within 2 feet of him. It was actually about a metre away. It's the angle of the camera. But yeah, basically, I said, "Touch me again, and I'll put you on the ground." Right? And then he assaulted me. That's not a threat. That means if you assault me again, now I'm learning this stuff to take him into their own fucking court. Right? Do commercial liens a whole lot. Right? Because basically they're saying the statute gives them the right to torture people. Statute gives them the right to murder people. Statute gives them the right to withhold their identity, and it doesn't. It doesn't. um, break the bones of the prosecutor body and wouldn't have anything. Uh, break every bone in the prosecutor's body wouldn't have anything to do with this incident, would it? Then cries victim when they attack him. Well, yeah, they sat on me, smashing my head in the ground and punching me in the back of the head. Right now, when your head's got nowhere to go, and they punch you in the back of the head, um, and the guy had his knee on the back of my neck, and he's just doing a knee snap. Now, a leg weighs 18% of your body, and an arm weighs 9%. So snapping the knee down on the back of my head, forcing my head in the ground, and your head's got nowhere to go. That's why I was bleeding from the fucking head. And the girl seen it. They all seen it. He brings it on himself. He then gets on here like he's some real nice guy. Well, Deborah will tell you. She was the one who told me about the word nice, because I use the word nice too much. And basically, she says no C. And if you click on translation, it says origin, N-I-C-E, and there's this tiny gap between N-I and C-E. Then you go to the Latin translation, it's nicere, which means no C. So she was right. But what she does is she can't give the game away, so she gives you lots of idiotic little things like that has no real relevance to law, right? Just trying to look what I showed you, and then she says, showing other people's stuff and claiming credit for it. Well, Neville taught me stuff. Greg taught me stuff. Who else? Rick taught me heaps of stuff. Haven't heard anyone of them claiming that it's theirs because they're just reading it out of a book and they just found what was there written. Do you know what I mean? But she didn't find anything. She got all this shit from Boris, I'm some dude, and everyone who came before her. And it's copyright. It's there to be read. This is the ego. And listen to what Mitty said. She scorned. He called her hillbilly houser. And then there's Stephen Limb. I won't say his full name on the Commonwealth. He's already got the text messages from Debra in a file waiting to go. Boom. This is what he said. This is it. Oh, look, she's saying, oh, come on, Mitty. This is after he's dropped her in it. And she's sending him texts saying, oh, come on, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I don't want nothing to do with you. You're bad news. He'll be as they don't contact me again. So she's trying to play the nice guy. After he's dropped her in it, now he's sending a text saying, come on, it's bizarre. It's fucking bizarre. He used to live at his mummy's house and put her through hell. Then started on me when I told him to piss off. Why would I? If someone's training me, why would I attack her in any way? I knew she was trying to get me to take down my channel. I'm belligerent. And cops don't even know what the word belligerent means. I've said it before. It means legally two nations at war. And so effectively, it's hard to put into words. Um, then started on me. I told him to piss off. What did I start on you about and why? If you're teaching me, and she was teaching me some good stuff, but just giving me lots of little silly stuff, and it has me go up to Coffs Harbour. I wouldn't tolerate his screaming and lunatic behaviour. Now, the reason why she's using the word lunatic, I've only been told by prosecutors and coppers that I'm mentally ill. Everyone else is not bragging, but I've had people tell me I'm a fucking genius. I've got guys telling me I've got a beautiful mind. Just people who appreciate my work and they're part of this. So I'll just. Oh, come on. Jesus, camera. If I move it left, it goes right. There we go. Bit more there. So just pause it and read it when you get a chance. And so he even put a false malicious lies that I murdered my son for money for three male friends with three male friends. For fuck's sake, how crazy can you get? So so the only people who call me crazy is one copper and a prosecutor. Never had been called crazy before. I've been called a mad bastard for doing stupid shit, but fucking cars, motorbikes, all kind of shit. But that's just a term of endearment. Um, and so basically, the only one who's used the word lunatic was in the Supreme Court. Now, the only way she could get access to that is she was able to get access to the recording, the transcript, or she's got a friend who works in the Supreme Court. Now, she's an ecclesiastical notary or a notary public. And she reckons when she goes into court, she wins. But she wanted me to take my clips down. And she said, this is one of the things they say. Why do you care what happens to them? Right? She told me about Deagle, where they're going to reduce Australia's population by 2030 by down to 16 million, all this kind of stuff, right? Uh, and Deagle, you won't find that clip on Deagle anymore. It's taken down because it went viral. And so they separate you from. They try and there's a woman who is on the doing a clip on. I mean, it's all hearsay, but I would have said put it in an email. But she was doing sending questions to the on a Zoom meeting. She was sending questions to the tax man, and they offered her a job because she knew how to catch him out, get compensation for all the taxation, loss of income, all this kind of shit, right? Because the tax man's authorising these ABN entities that are stopping them from working. So that's Buxton 59. Now she used to live in Buxton, and this is another one. Still talking up your bullshit, disgusting little creature. After the things you falsely, maliciously, and vindictively claimed on the global public platform. It's not a globe; it's a fucking planet. You deserve to be locked up. Karma has a special place for people like you. So that's a threat. Now, all I can do is show you what she's done, what she's doing, and what I have in private conversations. Now, this guy, Peter Limb, what he did was, that's not his full name. What he did was, he said, what was this? I'm pretty sure he said, what's this woman's name? I said, Debra, whatever. And I explained, and then I was on another Zoom call, and I mentioned another notary, and they wanted to know his name. They wanted to know his name. And so I said it because technically it's private, but these guys record it so they can pass it on to their mates. Right? This is the thing why these handlers record the meetings. Right? And they said, oh yeah, I know him. He's such and such. And I said, well, no, he's not. He's this. And they said, oh, and they really wanted to know, right? And this guy came off real frank. Oh, he'd always close me. Oh yeah, I know that. I said, but I'm going to finish what I'm saying. The rest of the people might not know it, and he just kept trying to shut me down. And then he said, "Oh, come to another. We'll set up another window next time and have a chat." And I said, "What are you participating in this system when it's all based on fraud? It's all based on trust law, and they're administrating a fictitious estate based on the birth certificate, which is fraud and basically slavery by fictitious joinder." Um, and anyway, so they just don't want this stuff getting out. They'll the AMA is a division of the Bank of England, and yeah, this is I don't have any fear in me. I'm not trying to brag. It's just fucking. This is just it's like a guy going through a hard day. It was a selection course, and he said, I seen it on TV, and he said, how'd you get through it? And he goes, just take every day as it comes. When that day's over, you take the next day as it comes. And this is normal for me now. And when I take it as being normal and I just deal with it, and if I can get through a day, you only have to get through that day. If I can get through the day, then I can probably get through another day. And you just keep me up, and he passed selection course. So it's all a mindset, you know. You can't let stress and worry break you down. You can't let fear and emotion come in, because the only thing to fear is fear itself, right? There's enough people that are woken up. There's someone who's on the inquest into deaths in the old age pensioners, and she wanted to record the conversation, and then the inquest wouldn't go further with the investigation. They wouldn't hear her evidence. I just would have recorded it and posted it. Sent it to 50 people and say, post the fuck out of this. Because they murdered her father, and then they sold the estate off to the Salvation Army. That's what these guys do. So they sell off the assets, and then they sell the actual estate, which is worth billions. Okay, that's me done. That's Debra. So if you harass me, I'll put you on Facebook. I'll put you on YouTube. I'll put you on Rumble. I'll put you everywhere. So don't harass me. Don't come after me. I'm going to talk in private conversations about what's happened to me. My brother's seen the document, the enduring powers of attorney, and he said, "You sign this?" I said, "No." He goes, "Were you going to sign it?" I said, "Never." I said, "The Bible says, trust no man." I said, "I don't even trust you, you bastard." And he chuckled. But he said, "How long have you known this woman for?" I said, "Oh, about 4 months." "Yeah, but 4 months, and you're going to sign enduring powers of attorney over to this woman?" And he couldn't believe it. You know, this guy signs contracts with international contracts, and with, he ended up selling his business to his arm of his business, which was uh, he owned a franchise. It wasn't really a franchise. He owned it outright and worked for an American company. They sold it to Dolby Surround Sound. So, he's not an idiot. He's not the smartest bloke in the world. I'm not saying I'm smarter than him, but um, anyway, and he just couldn't believe that I'm dealing with these people. Now, when he left Tasmania, he knocked out a copper who assaulted him 3 times. They interrogated him for 20 hours, had to get the AFP and barristers involved, right? Because the cop said he was speeding. He said he wasn't. He had to get out of the copper's way because the copper travelled the same distance half the time. He had witnesses to say the copper was fucking screaming, and witnesses to say he was assaulted. And they got the AFP and a barrister involved. And what happened was when he was leaving Tasmania, they said, "If you ever come back, you will never leave." This is the Tasmanian police saying they will murder someone. Right? You had the Tasmanian Premier saying we need a massacre in Tasmania to get control of this country, and then 2 years later, Port Arthur happened. That guy was doing that guy couldn't open 2 opposing locks. So how do you squeeze a trigger and cock a weapon and load it, and it has an opposing lock for safety, safety, semi-automatic and automatic? And how did he do double taps when there were no gaming systems back then? How did he practice doing double taps and clear a room fast enough so people couldn't get out of their chair or break their position? It's a fucking physical impossibility. He had a lieutenant colonel say it was impossible, and he died shortly after, 2 years later, that it was physically impossible to do what was done. The weapons in Port Arthur were owned by the Victorian police, and one was in possession of the Victorian police, and one was supposed to be in their custody room, was an AR-15, and the other one was an SLR that was owned by the ADF. And they tried to get a local gun shop to say that he'd sold it to him, and that he refused, so they removed his license. You can't make this stuff up, right? You get all these psychologists and all these people fucking doing assessments of this guy. He was the nicest guy. If you said you like something, he'd give you the CD player. But then they drugged him for 9 months, and then and had no court, no trial. Held him for 9 months. Then they reckon they got a signed confession at him that he had electrocution marks on his body, torture marks on his body. This is allegedly anyway. The senior Victorian detectives played the telephone recording, and you could hear him on the phone. You can hear the gunshots in the distance. And every time there was a gunshot, the copper would cough. Right? This can't be made up. It's bizarre. And again, it's not my opinion. This is all referenced. Now, I can give you my opinion on doing clearances inside a fucking a building clearance, because I studied jungle warfare, urban warfare, and did building clearances for fucking a month straight in Western Australia. Well, not quite a month straight, but went over to SAS and did building clearances over there. They've got a building called the Embassy at Bing Bong. Did their 270, 360 degree ranges, MP5s, MP5 SDs. Went out to their range, did an automatic ambush, tripwires, BB traps, enfilade, crossing arcs, all this kind of shit. And we broke all the rules, and they do. They're trained to break all the rules, and they're the absolute limit of their machines. And yeah, it was good fun. So yeah, what's going on? You know, I'm not going off topic, but they have handlers. Um, no one asks you to take down clips unless you're working for the government. Um, I put up a clip about on Facebook about I searched a photo and then I didn't save it unfortunately, but I did save the clip. And she was in Buxton News, Independent, whatever it is down there, and she was. I don't think they just blocked me from seeing it, but I don't think they could actually block it. And it was she was arrested for no license, no registration, and all this other stuff. This is back in 2009, and saying she was under witness protection program, and it was in the paper. And she's on Facebook, and she's saying she's in the witness protection program, and emailing people and cop. You know, it doesn't make any sense. If you're in the witness protection program, you're not on fucking Facebook. You're not. I don't give a fuck what you say. That was another tell as well. Um, you know, it's just when you go through the truth movement, go down the rabbit hole. You've got to have a story. If you don't have a story, then you're not believable. She had emails from uh, you know she reckons she'd take down the government with a couple of emails. She'd be dead if she could. Right? Truthfully, they that's what special forces were designed for. Um, and what happened was she reckons they put an extra name on a Medicare card, and they put it on her, and then they say she was crazy, and then they that kid would be attributed to her, and then they could go and get a kid and put it into foster care, and then they could tamper with it. And, I mean, I don't doubt it, but you know, why isn't she doing a Karen Brewer or whatever her name is coming out talking about pedophilia and all that kind of stuff? It's not believable. And then she says, "Oh, her daughter won't talk to her because she won't stop doing this shit." Well, if you're gonna do it, come out. But I don't believe any of it. I really don't believe any of it. She's a fucking handler. My sister said she was a handler the minute she met her. She just goes, "No, not believable." So that's Deborah, Deborah B, Deborah W, whoever she is. And yeah, I'm in stalked by Hillbilly Houso, 100 kilo blob of lies. And she gives the blackfellas little tidbits, and you know they call her sister, and she gets them out of a bit of strife, but she doesn't train anyone. She went off at me because I showed the two blackfellas. I think it was a blackfella, an Islander, and two blackfellas, two tribal guys from Australia, and an Islander. And when I showed them, she pulled me aside after. She goes, "How dare you show that to them?" I said, "What do you mean? It's only some simple fucking language." She goes, "Oh, they can't handle it. It's too much for them." Fuck off. They got it straight away. Right? They just want. They don't want to get out. They don't want the Lex getting out. Anyway, that's me done. I'm talking too long.